Sam heard the small crash near his shop door and looked up from the circuit board he was fixing. A girl stood there, her hands pressed against the wall, her head turning slowly as if she was trying to understand where she was. She was not human. Her skin was pale blue and her eyes were large and silver, beautiful but empty. She was one of the tall, graceful people who came through station sometimes. But this one was young, maybe 12 years old in human terms, and she was clearly lost. Sam put down his tools and walked over slowly. He did not want to scare her. "Hey there," he said gently. "Are you okay?" The girl turned toward his voice. Her silver eyes did not focus on him. They looked past him, through him, at nothing at all. "I cannot find my guardian," she said. Her voice was soft and scared. "There were so many people in the market. I let go of his hand for just a moment and then he was gone." Sam understood now. The girl was blind. Her large eyes, designed by evolution to see in the dim light of her, saw nothing at all. He felt something twist in his chest. "Come inside," he said. "Sit down, I will help you find him." He guided her to a chair near his workbench. She moved carefully, her hands reaching out to feel the shapes around her. Sam got her a cup of water and watched her drink it slowly. Her hands were shaking. "My name is Sam," he said. "I fix things here, machines, electronics, whatever people bring me. What is your name?" "Lyra," she said. "That is a nice name. Your guardian, what does he look like? I can send a message to station security." Lyra described an older male named. Sam used his console to send the message, and security confirmed they would find him and bring him to the shop. It would take some time. The market was crowded today. "He will be here soon," Sam told her. "You can wait here, it is safe." Lyra nodded. She seemed calmer now. Her fingers traced the edge of the workbench, feeling the scratches and dents in the metal. "What do you fix?" she asked. "Everything," Sam said. "Broken engines, communication devices, medical equipment. If it has wires or circuits, I can probably make it work again." "That sounds interesting. I wish I could see what you make." The words were simple. She did not say them with sadness or self-pity. She said them the way someone might say they wished they could fly or breathe underwater, just a quiet acceptance of something impossible. But Sam felt those words settle into his mind, like a stone dropping into still water. "Your eyes," he said carefully, "were you born this way?" "Yes, my people call it the veil. Some of us are born with eyes that do not work. The priests say it is a spiritual mark, a sign that we are meant to see the world in other ways." She smiled slightly. "I have very good hearing, and I can feel the vibrations of machines through my fingers, but I have never seen colors, or faces, or stars." "Stars?" "My mother used to describe them to me when I was small. She said they were like tiny fires scattered across black cloth. She said each one was a sun with worlds around it. She said some of those worlds had people on them who looked up at our sun and wondered about us." Lyra's empty eyes seemed to grow distant. "I always wanted to see them, just once." Sam did not know what to say. He thought about his own eyes, about how he took them for granted every single day. He thought about the stars outside the station, the same stars he had grown bored of looking at after years of living out here. "Your people do not have technology to help with blindness?" he asked. "No, the priests forbid it. They say the veil is sacred. To remove it would be to reject the god's gift." Lyra shrugged. "I do not know if I believe that, but it does not matter. No one has ever made something that could help someone like me anyway." Sam was quiet for a long moment. His mind was already working, already pulling apart the problem like he pulled apart broken machines. Neural interfaces, optical sensors, signal translation. The brain was different from a human brain, but the basic principles had to be similar. If he could find the right frequency, the right pathway. He stopped himself. This was not his business. This girl had her own culture, her own beliefs. He was just a human who fixed toasters and navigation systems. He had no right to interfere. But he could not stop thinking about it. An hour later, Counselor arrived. He was tall and stern, with the same pale blue skin as Lyra but with lines of age around his eyes. He took Lyra's hand and thanked Sam briefly, his voice cold and formal. He clearly did not trust humans much. Sam watched them leave. Lyra turned back once and waved in his general direction, her empty eyes finding nothing but somehow knowing he was there. That night, Sam could not sleep. He sat at his workbench with a cup of cold coffee and a blank screen. His sister Myra found him there when she came home from her shift at the clinic. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Thinking." "About what?" Sam told her about Lyra, about her blindness and the veil and the priests who said it was sacred, about how she wanted to see the stars. Myra listened and then shook her head. "Sam, do not get involved. Alien cultures are complicated. You could cause serious problems." "I know. So you are going to leave it alone." Sam looked at the blank screen. He thought about Lyra's quiet voice and her empty silver eyes. He thought about stars like tiny fires scattered across black cloth. "No," he said, "I do not think I can." Myra sighed. She knew her brother. Once he decided to fix something, nothing could stop him. "Just be careful," she said, "please." Sam nodded, but he was already sketching designs, already listing the parts he would need. Somewhere out there was a girl who had never seen a star, and somewhere in his pile of scrap and salvage was the answer to that problem. He just had to find it. 1 week passed, then 2. Lyra kept coming back to Sam's shop. At first it was just to say thank you again. Then it was to ask questions about the strange sounds she heard from his machines. Then it was just to sit and talk while Sam worked. She liked the smell of solder and oil. She liked the way the floor vibrated when the big machines ran. She liked Sam's voice, calm and patient, explaining things to her without treating her like she was broken. Sam liked her too. She was smart and curious and brave. She never complained about her blindness. She just accepted it and found other ways to understand the world. But sometimes, when she thought he was not paying attention, she would turn her face toward the window where the stars shone cold and distant, and her expression would become so sad that Sam had to look away. He worked on the visor every night after she left. It was the hardest thing he had ever built. The brain processed information differently than a human brain. He had to study medical files, engineering papers, anything he could find. He burned through his savings buying parts. He failed over and over again, building prototypes that sparked or smoked or simply did nothing at all. But Sam did not stop. He never stopped when something needed fixing. On the 15th day, he finished it. The visor was ugly. It was bulky and awkward, with straps that would wrap around the head and a battery pack that hung from a belt. The lenses were thick and covered with tiny sensors. It looked like something from a bad science fiction movie. But when Sam connected it to his test rig and ran the simulation, the readings came back perfect. The visor would not give Lyra real sight. Her eyes were never going to work. But it would capture visual information through cameras, translate that information into neural signals, and send those signals directly to her brain through contact points on her temples. Her brain would learn to interpret those signals as images. She would see, not the way humans saw or the way Healthy saw, but she would see. Sam sat back and stared at his creation. His hands were shaking. He was terrified. What if it did not work? What if it hurt her? What if her people were furious that he had interfered with their sacred traditions? He almost put the visor in a drawer and forgot about it. Almost. The next day, Lyra came to visit as usual, and with her came Counselor. The old looked around the shop with suspicious eyes. "Lyra tells me she has been spending time here," he said. "I want to know why a human takes such interest in a child." Sam stood up straight and met the old man's gaze. "Because she is kind and smart and she deserves someone to talk to. That is all." Studied him for a long moment. Then his eyes moved to the workbench, where the visor sat under a cloth. "What is that?" Sam hesitated, then he pulled the cloth away. "I made something," he said, "for Lyra, but only if she wants it, only if you allow it." He explained what the visor did. He explained how it worked. He explained that it was experimental and might not work at all, and that he would never force it on anyone. His face went through many emotions: shock, anger, fear, and something else, something that looked almost like hope. "This is forbidden," he said quietly. "The priests would never allow it." "I know, that is why I am asking you, not them. You are her guardian, you decide." Looked at Lyra. The girl was standing very still, her hands clasped in front of her, her blind eyes wide. Lyra said, "What do you want?" She was quiet for a long time, then she said, "I want to try." Sam helped her sit down. His hands were steady as he placed the visor on her head and adjusted the straps. He connected the battery pack to her belt. He checked every connection twice. "This might feel strange," he said. "Your brain needs time to learn what the signals mean. At first you might just see shapes and colors. It could take hours or days before things start making sense." Lyra nodded. "I understand." Sam pressed the activation button. For a moment nothing happened. Lyra sat perfectly still, her face hidden behind the bulky visor. Then she gasped. "I see something," she whispered. "I see shapes, light and dark, moving things." "That is good. That means it is working. Give it time." Minutes passed. Lyra's hands gripped the arms of the chair. Tears began to stream down her face beneath the visor. "Colors," she said. "I see colors, blue and silver and brown. Is that brown?" "Yes," Sam's voice was thick. "Brown is the color of my workbench." "And that bright thing near the ceiling?" "A light." And she turned her head slowly toward Sam. The visor's cameras tracked the movement. "That shape in front of me, is that you?" "Yes, Lyra, that is me." She reached out her hand. Sam took it. Her fingers were trembling. "I can see you," she said. "I can see your face. You look kind." Sam could not speak. His throat was too tight. Lyra turned toward the window. The station's viewport showed the endless black of space, scattered with points of light. Stars, thousands of them. "Oh," she breathed. "Oh, they are beautiful. They are so beautiful. My mother was right. They are like tiny fires." She began to sob. Not sad sobs, happy ones. The sobs of someone who had been given something they never thought they could have. Watched in silence. His old eyes were wet. He looked at Sam with an expression the human could not read. "How?" he asked. "How did you do this?" Sam wiped his own eyes and shrugged. "I just figured it out. I saw a problem and I tried to solve it. That is what I do." Stared at him for a long time. Then he took Lyra's hand gently. "We must go," he said. "There is much to discuss." He did not ask for the visor back. He did not demand that Lyra remove it. He just led her out of the shop, her new eyes seeing the station around her for the very first time. Sam watched them disappear into the crowd. He felt exhausted and happy and scared all at once. 3 days later, Myra burst into the shop with fear in her eyes. "Sam, a ship just arrived at the station. A warship, military elite, the Silken Guard." Sam felt his stomach drop. Who are the Silken Guard? "The personal protectors of the High Council." "Sam, what did you do?" Sam looked at the empty chair where Lyra had sat. He thought about her tears and her smile and the way she had looked at the stars. "I helped a girl see," he said quietly. "I guess someone important noticed." The soldiers came for Sam the next morning. They were tall and silent, dressed in armor that shimmered like liquid silver. Their faces showed no emotion as they escorted him through the station corridors. People stopped and stared. Humans, aliens, traders, and workers alike all watched the strange procession pass by. Sam kept his head up and his hands steady. He had done nothing wrong. He had helped a child. Whatever happened next, he would not apologize for that. They brought him to the diplomatic wing of the station. a section he had never entered before. The halls here were clean and quiet, decorated with symbols from a dozen different species. They pushed him through a heavy door into a room with bare walls and a single table. A woman stood waiting for him. She was younger than but carried herself with the same rigid formality. Her armor was darker than the others, marked with symbols of rank. Her eyes were cold. "Sit," she said. Sam sat. "I am commander of the Silken Guard. You will answer my questions truthfully and completely. Do you understand?" "Yes." "Good. Tell me about the device you gave to the child called Lyra." Sam explained everything. The meeting in his shop, the conversations over 2 weeks, the visor, how he designed it, how he built it, how it worked. He held nothing back. There was no point in lying. Listened without expression. When he finished, she leaned forward. "Who helped you?" "No one. I built it alone." "Impossible. This technology does not exist among the. Our best scientists have never created anything like it. You expect me to believe a single human made this in a junk shop?" "I do not expect you to believe anything. I am just telling you what happened." "What do you want in return? Money, political favor, access to technology?" Sam stared at her. "I do not want anything. I saw a kid who could not see. I tried to help her, that is all." His eyes narrowed. "Humans always want something. You think you can embarrass us, show the galaxy that they cannot even help their own children, make us look weak and backward." "I never thought about that. I just thought about Lyra." "You are lying." A new voice spoke from the doorway. "No, Commander, he is not." Sam turned. An elderly male entered the room, moving slowly with the weight of many years. His robes were simple but made of expensive fabric. His face was lined with age, but his eyes were sharp and intelligent. Commander stood and bowed. "High Speaker, I did not expect you to attend this interrogation personally. I wish to see this human for myself." Walked to the table and looked down at Sam. "I have spoken with Counselor and with young Lyra. I have examined the device. I have studied this man's history through your intelligence files." "And what do you conclude?" "That he is exactly what he appears to be. A skilled engineer with a soft heart. Nothing more, nothing less." Looked frustrated. "Then why are we here? Why did the Council send the Silken Guard for a simple human tinkerer?" Was silent for a moment, then he gestured for to sit. "Commander, what I am about to tell you does not leave this room. The human may hear it because he is already involved and because I believe he can be trusted to remain silent." Sam felt a chill run down his spine. He had a bad feeling about what was coming. "Lyra is not an ordinary child," said. "She is the granddaughter of the current matriarch of all. Her blindness has been a closely guarded secret for her entire life. The religious establishment declared it a sacred mark, a sign of the gods' special attention. They forbade any attempt to treat it." Sam closed his eyes. Of course. Of course he had not helped just any blind girl. He had helped royalty. "Now," continued, "a human has done what our own people refused to do. He has given sight to the matriarch's own blood, with scraps, with salvage, with nothing but his own determination." "The religious factions must be furious," said. "Furious does not begin to describe it. The priests call it blasphemy. They demand the device be destroyed and the human executed. But the political factions see opportunity. They want the technology for themselves. They want to use it to gain power over the priests." "Civil war," whispered. "Perhaps, perhaps not. Much depends on what happens next." Looked at Sam. "You have started something, human, something that cannot be easily stopped. The matriarch herself wishes to meet you." Sam's mouth went dry. "Meet me?" "You will come with us to the. You will explain your work to the matriarch and to the council. You will help us understand what you have done and how you did it." "And if I refuse?" His expression became sad. "Then you will stay here and wait for the factions who want you dead. They are already sending agents. The station is no longer safe for you." Sam thought about Myra. He thought about his little shop and his quiet life. He thought about everything he would be leaving behind. Then he thought about Lyra looking at the stars for the first time. "I will go," he said, "but I need to tell my sister." Nodded, "You have 1 hour. Say your goodbyes. Bring nothing that could be considered a weapon. And Mr. Yes. Thank you. Whatever happens next, you gave a blind child the gift of sight. That is something that can never be taken away." Sam found Myra in her clinic. He told her everything. She cried and held him and told him he was a fool. "I know," he said, "but I have to see this through. You always have to fix everything. I cannot help it. It is who I am." Myra pulled back and wiped her eyes. "Come back to me, Sam. Promise me." "I promise." 1 hour later, Sam boarded a warship and watched station shrink behind him. Ahead, somewhere in the darkness between stars, an entire civilization was arguing about what he had done. He hoped he had made the right choice. He hoped Lyra was okay. He hoped he would live long enough to see how this ended. There was nothing like Sam had imagined. He had expected something like Earth, maybe with different colors or strange plants. Instead, the ship descended through thick clouds into a world of eternal twilight. The sun was dim and distant, barely more than a bright star in the gray sky. The cities were built underground, vast caverns filled with bioluminescent light. The forests on the surface glowed with soft blues and greens, living things that made their own light in the darkness. Sam understood now why they had such large eyes. This world had never known bright sunshine. Everything here was shadow and shimmer, beautiful and strange. They gave him quarters in a government building near the central palace. The rooms were comfortable but windowless. Guards stood outside his door at all times. He was not a prisoner, they told him, just a guest who needed protection. Sam did not believe them. He was a prisoner in everything but name. The days passed slowly. Officials came to question him about his work, about human technology, about his intentions. He answered their questions honestly and completely. Some of them seemed impressed. Others seemed afraid. A few looked at him with open hatred. On the 5th day, Lyra found him. She slipped past the guards somehow, appearing in his doorway with a bright smile on her face. She was wearing her visor, and her silver eyes tracked his movement as he turned toward her. "Sam," she ran to him and hugged him tightly. "I knew you were here. I asked and asked until someone told me." Sam hugged her back, feeling some of the tension leave his shoulders. "How are you, Lyra? Are you okay?" "I am wonderful. Everything is wonderful. I can see everything now. The caves and the lights and the people. I saw my grandmother yesterday. She cried when she looked at me." "Your grandmother, the matriarch." Lyra pulled back and looked embarrassed. "I should have told you. I am sorry. I was afraid you would treat me differently if you knew." "It is okay. I understand." Sam smiled at her. "I am glad the visor is still working." "It is perfect, better than perfect. I practiced every day and now I can see almost as well as anyone. The doctors say my brain has adapted completely." She took his hand. "Come with me. I want to show you my home." They walked through the glowing caverns together, Lyra pointing out wonders that Sam would never have noticed on his own. Hidden gardens filled with phosphorescent flowers. Ancient carvings on the cave walls that told stories thousands of years old. A underground lake so still and clear that it reflected the lights above like a mirror. For a few hours, Sam forgot about the politics and the danger. He was just a man walking with a child who could finally see the beauty around her. But the peace did not last. On the 7th day, they brought Sam before the Council of Voices. The religious leaders sat in a half-circle on raised platforms, their robes heavy with symbols and their faces heavy with disapproval. Their leader was an ancient female named High Priestess, and she looked at Sam like he was something unpleasant stuck to her shoe. "You stand accused of blasphemy," she announced. "You have corrupted a sacred soul with profane technology. You have the will of the gods. How do you answer?" Sam stood straight and kept his voice calm. "I answer that I helped a child who wanted to see the stars. I meant no disrespect to your gods or your traditions. Ignorance is no excuse. The veil is a sacred gift. To remove it is to reject the gods themselves." "Then why did your gods put me in Lyra's path?" The chamber went silent, eyes widened. "What did you say?" "I am asking a question." Sam spread his hands. "You say the gods wanted Lyra to be blind. Fine. But the same gods created a universe where she could wander into my shop. The same gods gave me the knowledge to build the Visor. The same gods gave Lyra the courage to try it. If the gods really wanted her to stay blind, why did they make all of that possible?" His mouth opened and closed. She had no answer. "I am not saying I understand your gods," Sam continued. "I am human. Your beliefs are not my beliefs, but maybe the gods wanted Lyra to have a choice. Maybe the veil was not meant to be permanent. Maybe it was a test and she passed it." The priests argued among themselves. Some looked thoughtful, others looked furious. The debate went on for hours, and in the end nothing was decided. But Sam had planted a seed of doubt. He could see it in their eyes. That night the matriarch summoned him. She was old, older than anyone Sam had ever seen. Her skin was pale as paper and her hands trembled as she reached for him. But her eyes were bright and clear, and when she smiled, Sam could see Lyra in her face. "So you are the human who gave my granddaughter the stars," she said. Her voice was soft but strong. My name is Sam. I know who you are. I know everything about you. I had my people investigate you thoroughly." She gestured for him to sit beside her. "They found nothing. No hidden motives. No secret plans. Just a man who fixes broken things." "That is all I am." "No, that is not all you are." The matriarch took his hand. Her grip was surprisingly firm. "You are someone who sees a problem and cannot walk away from it. You are someone who helps without asking for anything in return. Do you know how rare that is? In any species?" Sam did not know what to say. "I have ruled my people for 60 years, she continued. "I have seen wars and treaties, betrayals and alliances. I have learned that everyone wants something. Everyone has a price. But you helped my granddaughter for no reason except that you wanted to help her. She deserved it. Every child deserves to see the stars." The matriarch's eyes grew wet. "Yes, yes, they do." She released his hand and sat back. "What do you want, Sam? Ask me for anything, and if it is within my power, I will grant it." Sam thought about it. He thought about wealth and power and technology and all the things he could ask for. "I want to go home," he said finally, "and I want Lyra to have the choice to keep seeing. That is all." The matriarch nodded slowly. "It will be done. But I must warn you, the political situation is dangerous. Not everyone will accept my decision. There are those who would rather see you dead than admit that a human succeeded where we failed." "I understand." "Do you? I hope so. Because tonight you must be very careful." Sam returned to his quarters as the dim evening faded into true darkness. He lay on his bed and tried to sleep, but his mind would not stop racing. Hours later, he heard the door open. He sat up quickly. Shadows moved in the darkness. 3 figures dressed in black carrying weapons. "Assassins." Sam rolled off the bed just as a blade cut through the space where his head had been. He grabbed a chair and swung it hard, connecting with one of the attackers. The figure stumbled back. But there were 3 of them and 1 of him. He was not going to win this fight. Then a scream cut through the air, high and young and terrified. "Sam!" Lyra stood in the doorway, her visor glowing faintly in the darkness. She had come to visit him, unable to sleep, and now she had walked into an assassination attempt. The attackers turned toward her. Sam threw himself at them, screaming for the guards. Seconds later, soldiers burst through the door. The assassins fought briefly, then fled into the shadows. One was caught, the others escaped. Sam grabbed Lyra and held her close. She was shaking but unharmed. "You saved my life," he told her. "If you had not screamed, if the guards had not come." Lyra looked up at him with her new eyes, tears streaming down her face. "I was so scared. I saw them hurting you. I saw everything." Sam held her. Outside, alarms were sounding throughout the palace. The assassination attempt had failed, but the message was clear. The factions were willing to kill to get what they wanted. And Sam was right in the middle of it. The palace was in chaos. Soldiers ran through the corridors, searching for the escaped assassins. Officials shouted orders and demanded answers. The captured attacker was dragged away for questioning, his black robes torn to reveal the symbols of a radical religious sect beneath. Sam was moved to the matriarch's own wing of the palace, surrounded by the most trusted guards. Commander herself took charge of his protection. "I misjudged you," she said as they walked through the secured hallways. "I thought you were a schemer, a manipulator, but I have watched you with Lyra. You truly care about that child." "She is easy to care about," Sam said. "She is brave and kind and curious. Any decent person would want to help her." "That is where you are wrong, human. Decent people are rare in politics. Most would have used her for their own gain. You did not. That makes you either very foolish or very good." "Can I not be both?" Almost smiled, almost. The next morning, the radical faction made their move. High Priestess appeared before the full council. Religious and political leaders gathered together in the great chamber beneath the palace. She announced that the attempted assassination was a sign from the gods. The human had to die. The blasphemous device had to be destroyed. If the matriarch refused, the religious faction would declare her unfit to rule. It was an ultimatum: submit or face civil war. The matriarch sat on her throne, frail and tired. The stress of the past days had weakened her further. Sam could see it in her face. She was dying, slowly but surely, and everyone in the chamber knew it. "High Speaker," the matriarch said, "what do you advise?" Stepped forward. "Majesty, I advise patience. Let us investigate further. Let us understand the full truth before we act." "There is nothing to investigate," snapped. "The human, the gods, the punishment is clear." Sam watched from the gallery above, hidden among the crowd at his side. He could not speak here. He had no standing. But he could see how this was going to end. The matriarch was out of options. The political factions were afraid to oppose the priests openly. The military was divided. If someone did not change the direction of this debate, the radicals would win. "I need to speak," Sam said quietly. Stared at him. "That is impossible. You have no right to address the council." "Then get me that right, please. I did not come all this way to watch everything fall apart." Hesitated. Then she spoke into a small device on her wrist. Moments later looked up toward the gallery. Their eyes met. The old politician nodded slowly. "Majesty," announced, "I request that the human Sam be allowed to address the council. As the one whose actions caused this crisis, he should have the opportunity to speak in his own defense." Laughed coldly. "Let the blasphemer speak. Ridiculous." "Let him speak," the matriarch said. Her voice was weak but firm. "I want to hear what he has to say." Sam walked down from the gallery and stood in the center of the great chamber. Hundreds of eyes stared at him, of every rank and faction, all watching to see what the strange human would do. He took a deep breath and began. "I am not going to argue about gods," he said. "I do not know your gods. I do not understand your beliefs. That is not my place." He looked around the chamber, meeting as many eyes as he could. "But I know something about people, human people at least, and I think people are the same everywhere, no matter what they look like or where they come from." He thought about Earth, about history, about all the times fear had won over hope. "Where I come from, We have a long history of being afraid of change. We have burned books because they contained dangerous ideas. We have imprisoned scientists because they proved old beliefs wrong. We have killed people for helping others in ways that made the powerful uncomfortable. He paused. The chamber was completely silent. Every single time, we were wrong. Every single time, the change we feared turned out to be exactly what we needed. The ideas in those books lifted us out of darkness. The scientists we punished showed us the truth about our universe. The helpers we killed made the world better in ways we could not understand until they were gone. He looked at directly. She glared back at him with hatred in her eyes. You think I your gods by helping Lyra. Maybe I did. I do not know, but I know this. Lyra is a child who wanted to see the stars. I gave her that. If that is a crime, then I accept your judgment. You can execute me. You can destroy the Visor. You can pretend none of this ever happened. He raised his voice, letting it carry through the vast chamber. But it will not change anything, because wherever humans go, we will keep doing this. We will keep helping. We will keep building. We will keep trying to make things better, not because we are smarter or stronger or more righteous than anyone else, but because we cannot stop ourselves. It is who we are. It is what we do. He spread his hands, empty and open. So kill me if you want, but know that another human will come after me, and another after that. And sooner or later your children will see the stars whether you like it or not, because that is what humans do. We help, we fix, we hope, and we never ever give up. Silent, long, terrible silence. Then a small figure stood up in the gallery. Lyra. She walked down the steps slowly, carefully, her visor glowing softly against her pale face. Every eye in the chamber followed her. She reached up and removed the visor from her head. She held it out in front of her, offering it to no one in particular. I will give it back, she said. Her voice was small but clear. If that is what you want, I will be blind again. I will accept the veil. The chamber held its breath. But I will never forget what I saw. Tears ran down her cheeks. I will never forget the stars or the colors or the faces of the people I love. And I will never stop hoping to see again, because Sam taught me something important. He taught me that hope is not a sin. Wanting to see is not a sin. Being helped is not a sin. She turned to face High Priestess directly. If the gods want me to be blind, they can take my sight away themselves. But I do not think they will. I think maybe they sent Sam to help me. I think maybe the veil was never meant to last forever. Opened her mouth to respond, but before she could speak, something remarkable happened. One of her own priests stood up, then another, then a dozen more. They walked away from her side and crossed the chamber to stand near Lyra. The radical faction cracked, not completely, not permanently, but enough. The matriarch raised her frail hand. There will be no execution, she declared. There will be a formal inquiry. The human will be allowed to return home, and my granddaughter will keep her sight. Screamed in protest, but her voice was drowned out by the murmurs of approval spreading through the chamber. The crisis was not over. There would be more fights, more debates, more struggles ahead, but the immediate danger had passed. Sam felt hands clapping his shoulders, was smiling at him, nodded with something like respect. And Lyra ran to him and hugged him so tightly he could barely breathe. 2 weeks later, Sam stood at the docking bay of the, ready to board the ship that would take him back to station. The matriarch had given him a parting gift, complete schematics of neural technology. With this knowledge, he could improve his design. He could make better visors. He could help more people. Lyra stood with him, her visor firmly in place, her silver eyes bright with tears. "Will you come back?" she asked. "I do not know, maybe someday." "I will miss you." Sam knelt down and took her hands. "I will miss you too, but you do not need me anymore, Lyra. You can see the stars now. Go out there and explore them." She hugged him one last time. Then she stepped back and Sam walked onto the ship. He watched through the viewport as the shrank behind him. Somewhere down there, a girl who had been blind could now see. Somewhere down there, an ancient civilization was slowly learning that change was not something to fear. He had not planned any of this. He had just seen a problem and tried to fix it. That was all. The ship jumped too, and the stars stretched into lines around him. Back on station, Myra was waiting at the docks. She ran to him and held him tight, crying and laughing at the same time. "You are alive," she said. "You actually made it back." "I promised I would." They walked back to his shop together. Everything was exactly the way he had left it. The workbench covered in parts, the tools hanging on the wall, the chair where Lyra had sat on that first day. Myra looked at him as he stood in the doorway, taking it all in. "What are you going to do now?" she asked. Sam reached into his bag and pulled out the schematics. He set them on the workbench and smiled. "There are a lot of people out there who want to see the stars," he said. "I better get to work." And he did.